Hello?
Telephone.
Hello?
Hi, may I please speak with Anna?
Yes, this is she.
Hi, Anna. My name is Kaylee Bacon. I'm calling from the Center for Dispute Settlement in reference to the complaint you filed against Officer Wilson.
Oh, yeah.
How are you doing today?
Okay, how are you?
I'm doing well. So the reason I'm calling is because the Office of Police Complaints referred your case to mediation. Are you familiar with mediation at all?
I got the letter about that. My understanding of the leaflet, this is the first time I've gone to mediation with Office of Police Complaints. So I guess every place is different, but it swears you to privacy in terms of what, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but it swears you to privacy as regards to what goes on in the mediation, and that is pretty, run-of-the-mill. But it also gives the mediator the power to say that, the person involved did not really make a good faith effort.
Mm-hmm.
That the case can be dismissed on the basis of that. Am I reading it correctly?
You are reading it absolutely correctly.
Okay, well, what's the privacy in that if the mediator can say that?
The mediator can't report about anything that was said during the mediation.
No, but if he says that there was no good faith effort, he is reporting that, isn't he?
Well, he's not reporting what was said during mediation, and that's what's considered confidential. In addition to reporting
but that leaves
good faith, which I'll get to that point in just a minute, we also report whether or not it's resolved or unresolved, which one could say that means that it wasn't confidential either. But
yes, they can say that. They can say that, but the fact is that if I am not permitted to say what was said in the mediation, which could show that there was a good faith effort or there wasn't a good faith effort on my part or on the part of Officer Wilson, okay, and the result of the mediator does not reflect that, I'm not allowed to talk about it and dispute that.
Right, but let me tell you from our office's perspective
fair.
what our understanding of coming and participating in good faith. Our understanding of participating in good faith is showing up for the mediation and talking. Our standards for what we consider good faith, one could consider them, I guess, to be low standards, if you will. But really, if you show up to the mediation, that's coming in good faith.
Okay, fine.
Our opinion.
All right. As long as I physically
that generally says whether or not people participate in good faith. And in the past 4 years, there has only been one instance, which was a very serious case of lack of participation, where it was determined that there was not a good faith effort. But that was one time in the past 4 years.
And it was one time based on the fact that one of the parties didn't show up.
No, it was a very, very, very extreme circumstance, which I will not get into. What I'm telling you is that if you show up to the mediation and sit there and have a conversation, that's participating in good faith. What you say is irrelevant to me in terms of participating in good faith.
Okay, but there is a possibility that the mediator can decide it's not in good faith even if the parties show up and speak.
There always remains that possibility, but I am the final authority.
Yeah, you're the final authority, but I would not be able to dispute what you say because I'm sworn to silence. Because the only way you're going to be able to prove that you did participate in good faith is to be able to say what actually you said and what the other one said and all that. I mean,
and what is your concern about this?
My concern is that that the mediation in and of itself seems to benefit the officer. And
how so? If you don't mind
submitted because if the mediation goes well, the officer gets something out of it more so than the individual who complained. The individual who complained had to endure what the officer did. Then they had to complain about it, which cost money and time. Then they had to go to the office there and sign a statement and all this type of stuff. It's all money, time, effort that this individual didn't need to do otherwise, except for the behavior or actions of that officer. Then you have to go to mediation to talk to this officer. Well, I submitted a tape of what the officer said. It's indisputable what happened. So why would I need to go and discuss it with him? Either he's going to file a report on what I reported, or he's not. If he wants to apologize, that's fine, But I have to go there. I can't sit for very long, and I have to go there and sit. Sounds like most of your mediations take 2 hours. I really can't sit for 2 hours. If I can avoid that, I really should. It should be limited to 1 hour. It was very simple. He either should have taken a report or he shouldn't have, and he should have taken a report, and he wouldn't, and he was rude about it. Okay, so...
And I hear what you're saying.
Yeah, so it's like, this doesn't benefit me, because really what you ought to do is just send another officer to take a report. If the objective facts require that, and they do, rather than have me go and have this, feely thing with this officer who was really rude to me. And why would I go back there and endure that all over again? What if he does the same thing in mediation? Because if all he has to do is show up and he's fulfilled the requirement for good faith, unless the mediator decides to say something different, which is always up there, which to me, that leaves me, no reasonable person would find that acceptable. They may have to go through it, but nobody's going to find it acceptable that no one can talk about what happened there, but somebody can say something about it and make a decision about it. That isn't really right, No one's going to say that that's okay. They do it because that's what you're requiring. I want my report. Now, I was told that if you go to the thing, you'll probably get your report. You won't have any chance of getting your report. If you don't go, well, why can't I just call another officer and get my report? It's like you go and complain about somebody who didn't do their job, and now I'm stuck in this web of all this to do and all this type of stuff. All good and well, but you have to understand that when you require this of people, you're taking, a person who works has to leave their job for that day and go to that mediation and take time off from work and find a way to get to DC and go there and do that. That's of course that's in benefit of the officer. Of course it is, because the situation could be, put behind them and stuff like that. That's all good and well, but it's all at the cost of the person who had to complain. It's not at the cost of the officer, because he has to go. That's his job. He has to do that. So there are a lot of, and what I submitted was indisputable. You can listen to that, and it cuts the air. His attitude cuts the air. It's not something that you could say, oh, that's a subjective thing. As soon as you listen to the tape, you could hear his rudeness. It's not something that someone objective is going to listen to that and say, whoa, what's the matter with that officer? Of course they're going to say that when they hear that. Okay, so it's not, and then I've gone through all this. I still don't have my report. I may not get it by going there and talking to him. And what would I have to say to him that he doesn't already know? It gives him an opportunity to apologize and smooth things over. So of course it's in the benefit of the officer. It's in the benefit. This is only benefits the officer. It does not benefit the individual who is aggrieved. In my opinion, I'm doing what I'm being told to do. I started this. I filed that complaint against him, and I told him when he was here, and I was trying to give him the information to take a report. I told him that I would be filing a complaint against him, and I followed up on that. And he didn't care. He couldn't care less. And that tells me a lot, because when I'm getting all this information, I'm starting to see that he doesn't really have much to fear.
And I hear what you're saying. The way the process works is that your investigator, through her investigation, and then her superiors at the Office of Police Complaints thought this case would be appropriate for mediation. That's how I got it. I've heard the tapes. I have read your complaint, and I've read the summary from your interview. But that is the extent of what my role, I guess, in this. I only deal with the mediation portion of this. The investigation and the subsequent referral from the investigation is on the Office of Police Complaints. So if mediation is not something you're interested in, that's absolutely fine. I will send the case back. And generally, if you don't follow the process or don't participate, then the case will be dismissed.
Well, then that leaves me no choice but to go to mediation. Do you see how strong-armed that is?
I understand what you're saying.
Okay, so I'm not going to say no to you. I'm not interested in mediation, but I will go because if I don't go, you'll dismiss the case. So I went through all that for nothing, and I still don't have my report.
Have you contacted the Metropolitan Police Department about sending another officer to get a report?
No, I filed a complaint about him. That's what I did, and don't you refer that over, because I have every intention of also filing that complaint with Internal Affairs once yours is complete, and if it's a good result where I get a report, then fine. If it's not a good result, I'm sending it to Internal Affairs and reopening that. They may not.
Okay.
You know what I mean? It's not.
Yeah.
I want my report. I want my report. And I want if the police department gets they get your information, don't they? When someone files a police complaint complaint, doesn't MPD get that too?
I just want to be clear. I don't work for the Office of Police Complaints.
Okay.
I work for the Center for Dispute Settlement, and my only involvement with these cases is with mediation. Any investigation, any referral of reports, that is something that your investigator takes care of. My only role in this whole process is to schedule mediation, occasionally to mediate, and to send over the appropriate documents at the conclusion of a mediation. So all of the investigative work, all of the paperwork referral, that is something that your investigator and the Office of Police Complaints does.
Yeah. Okay.
So any questions about what has been sent over or the investigative process, I would be more than happy to give you your investigator's name and number, just because, if you do have questions about that, I completely understand. Unfortunately, my role here...
no, I already told her this.
I'm sorry?
I already told her this. In fact, I sent her an email with this a little bit more shorter than what I told you. It's easier to talk longer than it is when you're going to write it down. It's it's a lot shorter than what you say. But I already told her this. She knows how I feel about it, and she still sent it for mediation. Even though I don't understand how you can have a tape of the whole situation. You can even hear the door opening, so that when it started, that there wasn't something that went before. You can even hear the door opening, because my door makes it's very squeaky. So and it still is winding up in mediation. That I don't understand. That seems like a process just for its own sake. But I will not go to mediation, because, like you said, the case will be dismissed if I don't. So I have to go. I have to go to mediation about it.
And one thing to know, too, is, if it's not resolved for you at the end of it, the Office of Police Complaints can take a second look at it, do further investigation. It's not the end of the road if mediation isn't satisfactory.
So what can be resolved in mediation? He'll give me a report then and there? Can that happen?
I can't speak for what the officer will do at mediation.
No, you can't speak.
A lot of times what the conversation can be is explaining the incident, explaining what upset you, giving the officer an opportunity to, explain from his perspective what happened. And then if you want to discuss potentially having Officer Wilson come back and do a report, that's also something that can be discussed there.
Why do I have to mediate something like that when he should have just done it? Why isn't he just being chastised for it and made to give me a report? And I arrange a time for him to come back over here and give me a report. when he refused to take a report and even listen to me. I mean, he was, why do I have to become
the officer did or did not do what you think that they should have done?
Right.
I simply just can't.
Yeah, I know you can't. You're just like, trying to. But on the same by the same token, you do have a final decision about whether a good faith effort was made. And inasmuch as it was rare in your career that someone was said to have not made a good faith effort, even though he showed up or she showed up, it's still a possibility that somebody can say that. And I cannot defend myself against that, because the whole process seems to be to protect the officer. So it already is an uneven playing field.
Also,
it is.
Explain how the whole process is designed to protect the officer.
It seems to be. Anybody, I've been in arbitration. I used to work for a union. I have a very good eye for these things. Okay. That process is meant to protect the officer and to keep the complaints to a minimum. That's how you.
But how so is what I'm trying to figure out from you. I've heard what you said. I just am curious why you think that.
Well, I just explained to you all the misgivings I have about it. So that is, if mediation should not have the mediator making a final decision about something like that.
The mediator does not make the final decision, is what I've tried to explain to you.
No, a final decision about whether a good faith effort was made. That should be should be confidential too. I've been to other mediations. That should be confidential too. I've been as someone who has worked for a large union, and I have all sorts of experience in that. That should be confidential too.
Unfortunately,
it's not right.
Every program operates differently. Every mediation program. We run 3 mediation programs out of this office. 2 of them require a reporting on good faith effort. 1 of them does not. Mm-hmm. It goes with the program. And for the Office of Police Complaints, there is a good faith reporting requirement. I can't argue with you that there always will remain a possibility. Such as we are required to report that. Mm-hmm. The only thing I can say is that, if you'd like to speak with your mediator after the mediation and see what they are going to recommend, you're more than free to do that, and you can have that conversation with your mediator and be able to, tell them how you feel about it. But like I said, there was one extreme circumstance in 4 years, and generally speaking, the mediators just tell me if it's resolved or unresolved at the end of it. Mm-hmm. We don't have an in-depth conversation about what, did they participate in good faith? Did they not participate in good faith? It's my understanding that if the 2 people show up mm-hmm. and they have a conversation, that's considered good faith. That's really all there is to it.
Mm-hmm. Well, I am going in good faith because I wouldn't have filed a complaint. I filed a complaint to correct something so that I don't encounter it again. Mm-hmm. Okay, that's why you file a complaint. You file, I don't encounter it again, and also to fix what went wrong with that particular situation, which needs to be fixed. Okay, mm-hmm. So I'm going to make a good faith effort. There's no way I can't make a good faith effort because I want what's rightfully mine out of that situation. But it would appear that it is, even though most of the time things go as you say, the fact of the matter is they don't have to, and that leaves me, wondering about it. And if I have to wonder about it, then the program is set to help the officer, not to really help the complainant. That's all there is to it.
But that's not our perspective on the program at all.
It's not your perspective, but, that is the perspective of someone who has to go through it. If you have to go through it, it's different than someone who just does their job. And usually they don't feel any need to do anything different than what they did before with other cases, and they run by procedures that are generally adhered to most of the time and stuff like that. But the fact of the matter is, my entering that door with this officer and having a discussion with him over something that needed to be resolved months ago already, and then having a mediator say could be. I mean, we're going around in circles. that particular issue where a mediator can say that it was a good faith effort or not, just because there's a general understanding that usually a person just has to show up to make a good faith effort, as long as it can be different than that, even if it only happened once in 4 years, 4 years is not a long time. Okay, it's not, I mean, that tells me that the program is made to help the officer, because the person does not go through that mediation. First of all, that issue that the mediator can say whatever they want, even if they're not likely to, it doesn't matter. They still can do it. Then the person, if they don't go through the mediation, the case is dismissed summarily. That's all there is to it. I have to go through the mediation to get something. And then when it's not the end of the road, you go past mediation. Mediation is unsuccessful, wasn't resolved. Okay, you go back, and the case. Then what happens? They get the case again, and then what?
That's again something that your investigator would have to speak to.
Okay, so we're back where we started on that. So okay, all right. What did you asked me about what I thought and how I understood it or whatever. So there was another reason why you called too, to set it up.
Yes, ma'am. You hit the nail on the head with that one. So, no, I really appreciate you telling me your concerns. I do. I am, this is the program, and it is what it is, and I do hear your concerns with this. I do. Whenever there, remains a possibility for something, like the good faith effort to be reported on, I understand where you're coming from with that. I really do. And I appreciate you giving me feedback on that, but at this time, that is part of the process.
Yeah, I understand. I know that you can't do anything. I know that you cannot do anything about my concerns. I realize that, But if you ask me, I told you.
Absolutely.
Okay. I mean, you work there. I've worked in other places. I've worked for lawyers. I've worked for unions, and I'm not unfamiliar with such processes. It's different with everything. Sometimes it's called arbitration, where the arbitrator actually makes a decision about it. Sometimes it's binding, sometimes it's not. But it's still, if nothing is said about what was said in the mediation, then it should only be resolved and unresolved. There should never be someone didn't make a good faith effort. That should be shown by the fact the person didn't show up, if that's the criteria.
Absolutely hear that. Yeah. I do. Okay. I do hear your concern, without a doubt. But let's get to scheduling. When are you generally available? We can do Monday through Friday between 9 a.m. and 4 p.m. And I need to give the officer at least 1 week's notice so I can confirm that he received my notification. So the earliest we're looking at right now is February 21st or any day after that.
Okay, what day is February 21st? Let me look.
February 21st is a Thursday.
Okay. Let me do, we can do that. You have to get back to me and let me know if that's doable on the other end, right?
Well, generally speaking, the way it works is I send in a court notification systems. It's a form that requires the officer to come. What would happen, say, for example, if he had already scheduled leave or had training, they would contact me and let me know, and I would let you know prior to the mediation, and we would work on rescheduling. But generally, whatever date and time you come up with, for the most part, usually ends up working.
Okay, let's do, what do I have to do? Let's do the 28th. Okay, it's just a week right after, and I would like...
The 20th? The 28th?
28th, yeah, the 20th you can't... Oh, yeah, you can do the 20th, but I would like... You only have dates starting on the 21st. Yeah, let's do the 28th.
Okay.
And...
What day?
The 28th is a Thursday also. It's just a week after that. And I'd like to keep it to an hour. So if I can, when you say 4 o'clock from 9 to 4, you usually schedule 2 hours. So schedule 1.
You want to start at 4?
Oh, you say, okay. I thought you ended at 4. You said from 9 to 4. So this...
Meaning you can start as early as 9 a.m. or start as late as 4 p.m.
Oh, okay. Well, that makes a difference. Okay. And then what happens? You just stay until it's over?
Well, if you don't want to go beyond an hour, that's something that you can tell your mediator prior to starting the mediation. Right. And then after an hour, if you feel like you're not getting anywhere or you feel like it's time to leave, then it's time to leave.
Okay, but if you go there at 4, let's say I take the 4 o'clock, and it's let's say it's going on past an hour and stuff like that, I can wind up staying there. I mean, even if I felt well enough to stay, I'm disabled, okay? I have a walker, so I'm going to get tired quickly, okay? So if I stay there past the 4 o'clock, and the 5 o'clock, and it starts getting to 6, I mean, if the parties are both well enough to sit there for hours and hours, they can even go until 9 o'clock at night, or is there a limit?
There's generally no limit, but I am not aware of any such case that has gone until 9 o'clock, but if need be, accommodations could be made for parties to stay there.
Okay.
We're extremely flexible with how this all works in terms of the amount of time, all of that.
Okay.
So if it's going well and everybody's interested in staying, you can stay, but at any point in time, either party has the right to stop the mediation.
Okay, and when you stop the mediation, could it be for any reason or just that you now have to go?
Oh, you don't have to provide a reason.
Okay, you
can say, I feel at this time I would like to end the mediation, and that's that.
Okay. That doesn't look like you're not doing a good faith effort. It's just you've shown up, you've said what you have to say, and you're not hearing what you want to hear, so it's over. That's
a distinct possibility, and I would consider that good faith.
Okay. All right. Let's do the 28th at about 1:30.
1:30 p.m.?
Yeah. This way.
Okay, that sounds good. Yeah. And I have your address is 3304 6th Street Southeast, apartment 304. Is that correct?
Yes. That's 20032. And can this be changed? Let's say I have a doctor. I have some outstanding issues, health issues, okay?
Yeah, absolutely. Because generally, I'll tell you how the process works from this point forward. I will send you a notice of mediation, which has the time, the date, the location, my phone number, and then a day or two ahead of time, I call to confirm that we are all set to go. Between today and the mediation, if for any reason, you have a medical appointment, you're not feeling well, there's an emergency of some sort, you can give me a call and I'll notify the officer and we'll reschedule.
Okay, so I can call and reschedule this. Yeah, okay, I can call and reschedule then.
Yes, ma'am.
In that case. All right. Okay, so, so it's like basically it's definite unless it becomes tentative.
Exactly.
Right. But it will still take place.
Way of putting it. So what I'll do, like I said, if between now and the 28th something comes up, give me a call. We'll reschedule, no problem. But expect a phone call from me either a day or two ahead of time just to confirm that we're all set to go.
Okay, and if you don't get
any reason the officer is unable to make it, I will also contact you to find out a new date and time that works for you.
Okay. Yes, and let me also say you called me on a Google number. I'm here in DC. I'm in DC. You called me, but I took your DC call in a DC location, even though the number you dialed was an Orlando number. If you see that you call me and leave a message and I don't call you back, please try me again. I have a hacker in my phone, and I may not know that you called.
Right.
Okay. So,
I will absolutely leave a message if I can't contact you. I also have a second phone number for you, which is 5614549. Is that a good number to reach you as well?
Yeah, that's my home number. That's the phone I'm using right now. That's my direct dial into the home. The only thing is you can't leave a message there. What I'm saying is that if you leave me a message, generally speaking, if I get a message from you, I will probably call you that day or the following day. Okay. If you don't hear from me, try me again.
I will absolutely make sure to leave a message.
No, if you don't hear from me, try me again, because I may not know that you left a message.
Sure.
Because my phone is being hacked. Okay.
That's awful.
It is. It is awful. It is a terrible, terrible thing. I've had this weird serial number appearing in my account history where a legitimate call has come in and that appears instead of the call.
Oh,
So that
that's
gives it,
really odd. I've not heard of that.
yeah, it's called cloning and spyware.
Wow.
And that's what it is, because this whatever computer is doing it has to call your phone, and then they actually can, the only thing I have is if it's working properly, and he hasn't screwed that up too, is I can look in my phone and see, that someone called. The phone history in the phone might show it. I'm not sure, because I don't know every instance. I know that a lot of the calls have had his number in the account history instead of the caller that actually called me. So I may not know that you called, is what I'm telling you. So call me again.
If I don't hear from you by the next day, I will follow up with another phone call.
Please do. And you have my email address also. That's another way to...
No, ma'am. What is your email address?
Anna, ANNA_Agolli, AGOLLI @yahoo.com.
Wonderful. And if I do leave a voicemail for some reason, if we're not able to connect, I will also send you an email. But again, if I don't hear from you by the next day, I'll follow up with a second phone call.
Yeah, then you can presume that there's something is wrong. Either I don't have your phone, your message, or I might be sick. There's stuff going on that I may have to go to the doctor right away. It may turn out to be nothing, but I may have to go to the doctor, and the last thing I'm going to think about is the phone. I probably leave it at home.
Absolutely. I totally understand. So don't worry, if I don't hear from you, I will definitely follow up until we can connect. And if I don't hear from you for multiple days prior to, I will go ahead, cancel, leave you a voicemail and an email to that effect, and wait for you to contact me when you're feeling a little bit better.
To reschedule, yes. And don't cancel it, but let's reschedule it, and then you'll have to cancel that one, but it'll be for the purpose of rescheduling.
And I will cancel the scheduled, and we will work on rescheduling when you're feeling better.
Okay, great. Could I get your...
contact? And if you need anything between now and the scheduled mediation, you feel free to give me a call, okay?
Okay. Could you give me, you said you were going to give me your phone number or an additional phone number?
Do you have a pen and paper? I can give you my direct extension right now.
Mm-hmm.
It's 202 265 9572, extension 1320.
Okay. All right, so and do you have an email or just call?
Yes, I do have an email. It's BACON, so K Bacon, at cds@dogsam.usa.org.
Okay, you're going to have to repeat that. So I have KEB, did you say B? K Bacon?
B, so it's K Bacon.
K Bacon at. The rest I didn't get.
BDS.
What does that stand for?
Cat, dog, Sam. USA.
Okay, .org. So CDS, Cat Dog Sam, USA, no space or anything, just all one thing, and then .org. Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you very much.
You're very welcome. You enjoy the rest of your day.
You too. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Today is February 14, 2013. It's 2:37 p.m.